All right, good morning, everyone. This is Cascade's Targeted Technical Advisory Group number 4 meeting. I'm Brian Robertson, Manager of Supply Resource Planning. Just to let everyone know, this meeting is being transcribed and recorded. I see, Paul, you have a hand up already?
Yeah, I'm just a question for you. Did you receive the email with staff's assortment of questions? Okay, I see you nodding. So,
Yes.
all right,
Yep,
thank you.
we received those. I don't know if Jody, you plan on going through those questions during your presentation. But we do have some written responses that I still need to review. Jody got those to me this morning, and we'll make sure to get those over to you, Paul. And we'll also add that to our um, feedback report, which will be posted out on our website, and it'll have the questions and our responses there as well. So everybody will have access to those questions and responses.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, yep, no problem. So today's meeting will be on energy efficiency. We have, so in our Washington territory, we have our in-house energy efficiency team led by Caleb Reimer, and Jody Albert will be presenting today. We also consult with ETO in Oregon, but since we only have about 45 minutes for a presentation on energy efficiency, we've just limited it to our Washington side. Now, a lot of the information is very similar to the Oregon side. We will have one slide at the end to talk a little bit about some things that are we're looking at in Oregon. So you will hear from our in-house energy efficiency team today on energy efficiency and kind of the process that we go through. But we'll also hear from this group again and the ETO group in a later tag meeting. So we'll have a quick safety moment, and then I'll kick it over to Jody to go through demand side management forecasts, the conservation potential assessment, and then we'll open it up for any feedback. Please feel free to provide feedback at any point. You can raise your hands, you can put questions in the chat, you can come off mute and interrupt. If you do ask a question, please remind us your name and the organization you're representing. And then we'll cover the next steps and the remainder of the timeline. So quick safety moment, just coping with stress. I know times can be stressful, whether that's during work or outside of work. Make sure you take breaks from reading, watching, or listening to news stories and social media. Take care of your mind and body by taking deep breaths, meditate, or stretch. Make sure you're eating healthy, well-balanced meals, getting the recommended 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Make sure you take time to exercise regularly if you can, and then avoid alcohol and drinks. And then make sure you take some time to unwind and relax. And then if you can, find and participate in some activities that you enjoy. I currently participate in coaching Little League, which is very stressful. So I don't know if that's working well for me. And then make sure you connect with others by talking with people you trust about your concerns and share your feelings. So that's what I have for coping with stress. I'll pass it over to Jody.
Hi everyone, Jody Albert here with Energy Efficiency. I am an energy efficiency analyst, and so I'm here to give you guys a rundown on how we do our demand side management. So I'll give you a brief overview as to how we calculate the performance and the conservation potential, which is really the baseline of our program and how everything is built upon. And then you'll see our forecasts for 2027 and onwards from the 2025 CPA that was completed. All right, so here is an overview of our program. On the left, you'll see the biennium performance graph. This summarizes the growth in our portfolio performance over the past 9 biennia. It shows annual therm savings accomplishments for our portfolio, combining our residential, commercial, and industrial claimed therms. As you can see, residential is our largest source of therm savings for the program. And for 2025, we had the best savings on record, 66% more than 2024 for residential. We had 1,309,816 total therms achieved through the 3 programs. We had record residential incentives. We distributed $16.2 million for incentives, and we reached 192% of our biennial residential therm savings goal. So the conservation potential assessment is one of the most important parts of the energy efficiency team. Brian, could we go back to slide? Thank you. And so if we move to the next slide, this will go over, we work with ICF. We've worked with them for about 10 years. And so for this analysis, ICF used its load map, now known as their vision load map modeling tool, to develop both the baseline and the potential. And this really just embodies the basic principles of rigorous end use models. It includes stock accounting algorithms that treat older, less efficient appliance or equipment stock separately from newer, more efficient equipment. So measure life is really important in this section. It incorporates really important modeling details related to equipment saturations, efficiencies, vintage, where market data are available, and treats end uses separately to account for varying importance and availability of data resources. It isolates new construction from existing equipment and buildings and treats new construction and existing buildings separately. This is really relevant in the state of Washington, where the 2021 WSEC substantially enhanced the efficiency of the new construction market. The model can accommodate various levels of segmentation, so analysis can be performed at the sector level, as well as segments within sectors such as housing type, the climate zone, or the income level of customers. And so the vision load map model provides projections of the baseline energy use by sector, segment, end use, and technology for existing and new buildings. And it also provides forecasts of total energy use and energy efficiency savings associated with the various types of potential. And so notable updates from the prior CPA include a complete recharacterization of the base year of the model to be 2023 using the most available latest data from Cascade. We completely looked at all of the measures and updated all of the data, as well as calibrating the baseline projection of energy consumption. So fully revisiting all aspects of the model from the base year really helps improve the planning. And so that was a really big part of this CPA to improve planning for the 2026-2027 biennium, as well as to aid in helping with the next iteration of the IRP. And all methodology remains consistent with the Council's 2021 Power Plan for Natural Gas Studies. So the table on this slide shows data sources that have been used in the model to calculate energy impacts, costs, lifetimes, applicability, and market availability. We also used latest forecasts for gas sales by schedule and customer counts for Cascade, latest customer databases and natural gas use per customer from Cascade, latest heating degree data from Cascade, newest market data from the residential building stock, latest RTF workbooks and underlying assumptions. We have updated avoided costs from the last Cascade projections and analysis. Yes, Paul.
Yeah, sorry to cut in the flow. This was a question we asked, we submitted, and might as well ask it now. For each of these, they have other secondary sources. Can you elaborate on what that means? Or is it just too many sources to name?
There are quite a lot of sources because some of these just include various recent studies that have been completed that were taken into account. It also does include Energy Star data as well as national standards. But yeah, that's what, if you want specifics, I can get those to you from ICF.
Yeah, that would actually be great as like a follow-up email. That'd be fantastic. Thank you.
Will do. So we had updated avoided costs from the IRP team included in the projection, as well as, like I just mentioned, code requirements and other assumptions and latest federal equipment standards. It should be noted that for this CPA, we had a higher avoided cost, average avoided cost per therm in this CPA. It was up 15% from our prior CPA. And so typically higher avoided costs lead to more cost-effective savings. But our CPA also had a decline in heating degree days, which caused a decrease in both consumption and available long-term savings for space and water heating measures. So this slide goes over those upcoming federal equipment standards that have been included in the modeling. The notable ones include the 2029 furnace, 2029 water heater, the 2028 clothes dryer, 2028 stove and pool water heater standards that will be coming into effect. Yes, Byron.
So I was looking at that, and it looks like you guys are looking at a lot of future appliance efficiency measures, but many of the measures that are supported by the company's rebates are also related to things like insulation and windows and stuff like that. How do you guys anticipate future building codes? Do you guys anticipate future building codes in the same way?
Yes, building codes are also incorporated in a similar manner. It's really important for us to include the future ones since the forecast is until 2045.
Right.
So even though, our biennial conservation plan is only for 26, 27, it's still useful to look ahead and be able to see what we'll have to do in 2028 and beyond.
Yeah.
All right, so we will be going over our portfolio. This includes our residential, commercial, and industrial programs. So this is an overview of our portfolio. So both Table 5.1 and Figure 5.1 on the screen both summarize the energy conservation savings in terms of annual energy usage for all measures for the potential relative to the baseline projection. Savings are represented in cumulative terms. And just a note for commission staff, in my email, I do have this same table non-cumulative for you. But but this reflects the effects of persistent savings in prior years in addition to new savings, which is why we utilize the cumulative savings table. This allows for the reporting of annual savings impacts as they actually impact each year of the forecast. Yes, Byron.
Yeah, I forgot to introduce myself. So Byron Harmon here from Washington UTC. I guess one question I have is, how do home energy reports interact with the idea of like cumulative savings versus like savings per year?
So we did include home energy reports in the CPA, and the measure lifetime of home energy reports in the analysis was only 1 year. So it wouldn't be cumulative in the way that, say, a tankless water heater would be based on measure lifetime. But we have been looking into, I would say, best practices for incorporating HERs in modeling and seeing how the difference in measure life that should potentially be used. I saw the most recent study come out from PSE's HER vendor that went over the cumulative effects of HERs and how it should potentially be utilized as a multi-year measure. But like I said, in this CPA, it did only have a measure life of 1 year.
Interesting. I appreciate that. It makes me wonder if there's like carryover, like behavioral patterns that carry over like over years, or whether, people just kind of see the report, they change their behavior for 1 year, and then they just can't forget the next month. It's an interesting question.
I agree. I think there's a lot of potential there. So now we'll be moving to our residential program. And so figure 5.3 here shows the cumulative achievable economic potential by sector for the study period as a percentage of total savings. So figure 5.3 shows a drop in the total cumulative achievable economic UCT potential in 2028 for residential and a proportional increase in 2029 for commercial due to the impacts of federal equipment standards, such as the furnace, the water heater, clothes dryer, etc., that I went over in one of the previous slides, as well as the projected decrease that the model showed for the commercial sector over time. As a note to staff from your email on the question for this slide, I do have an additional figure that shows the non-cumulative savings by sector as well that I think would really be useful. And it doesn't show such a sharp increase in the graph. All right, table 6.1 summarizes the energy efficiency potential for the residential sector. So the residential sector is the largest source of therm savings in the program, and the 2025 CPA continues to follow this trend. In 2027, achievable economic UCT potential is 485,000 therms. By 2035, cumulative savings are 5,141,000 therms for the program. So this table identifies the top residential measures by cumulative savings, once again, in 2026 and 2027. Furnaces, Energy Star connected thermostats, and ceiling insulation are the top 3 measures. This is consistent with the program's history, with attic insulation yielding high therm savings for past biennium. As a note, the CPA does incorporate hundreds of different measures, and these are the most cost-effective savings. And so these connected thermostats are just really easy to install, and they also have a good savings payoff for the company. So we will be moving to our commercial and industrial overview. And This table summarizes the energy potential for commercial. So commercial therm savings are our second largest share of therm savings for the program. In 2027, we see that the potential is 359,000 therms, which is much less than we saw for residential. But in 2035, cumulative savings reach 4,913 for the commercial, which is still slightly below the residential potential. Yes, Byron.
Sorry, I keep asking all the questions. Recently, staff had recommended that the company increase its rebates for its commercial customers. I'm pretty sure that the company followed up by doing that. Has the company seen any kind of like uptake in commercial rebates as a result of that change?
Caleb, would you have any input on that?
Yeah, happy to step in here. Let me turn my camera on. Byron, are we thinking about the program plan, which just started back in March 15th of 2026? Does that sound the right timeline?
That sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah, so I would say it's a bit too early to tell. All those commercial projects typically take more than a month or two to be completed. However, we have seen anecdotally some more interest from customers on the commercial industrial side engaging with our TRC who implements that side of the program, learning about the rebates, responding to some of the direct call it outreach that we've been doing with them, and also indirectly but related, having some impetus or some more interest in energy efficient programs due to Washington commerce initiatives like the Clean Building Performance Standards. So it seems like we're having some success, and I believe so far year to date we are well in excess of our goals, call it our pace for our annual goal. Things seem to be going pretty well on that front.
Appreciate that update. It's good to hear that that's going well.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks once again for your help in the last couple of years to build that plan.
I guess one other question I have since Caleb is on the line is about the significant increase in residential savings. You guys noted that you had well exceeded your goals for residential savings. How? Why? What's going on there? That's good. That's good news. I'm wondering, like, is this representative like a bigger long-term trend, or is there some kind of like outlier about this year where things just happen to fall in line or something like that?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's one of those things where it's always hard to tell what is exactly going on, but we think there's a couple of pieces here. In terms of the long term, it always comes down to individual customers making choices, deciding to hopefully take an energy efficient action rather than not doing so. But we're trying to coerce and persuade to make those energy efficient choices. What we've been focusing on over the past couple of years, as we've talked about in the past, is working directly through our trade allies and point of sale vendors. Point of sale being contractors in the field who are able to give upfront rebates to customers, which we then reimburse the contractor for about a month or so later. That seems to be a huge success, both on completing projects and on the equity front, where customers can, for example, an attic insulation, which has been our #1 measure, far exceeding what we've been expecting in the CPA. Those are oftentimes coming in near low cost or very low cost for customers. So they're able to afford those rebates and make the choice perhaps more quickly or easily than if they had to save, say, 10% on a $15,000 furnace project. That seems to be a huge game changer for us. We've got a new staff member in place. I shouldn't say a new staff member, an elevated staff member working directly with those point of sale contractors to promote the program, educate on requirements, help facilitate the paperwork and the filing process to help our other team with the resources of processing more rebates that we've been doing. I think working directly with those contractors and providing those upfront rebates that cover a significant chunk of the cost of the overall install, that needs to be a game changer for us that we hope to keep capitalizing on the current biennium.
I appreciate that additional context. Thank you. Thank you, Caleb.
Yeah, certainly.
This slide shows the top 10 measures for the commercial program, once again by cumulative savings. Weatherization measures similar to the residential program, especially ceiling insulation, are already a top performing program for Cascade, but it is backed up here as well by the CPA analysis. Thermostats, boiler upgrades, water heaters, and many other niche application components are followed in the rest of the top measures. And this goes back to what I was saying with the CPA including hundreds of measures. For example, number 9, commercial laundry dryer efficiency retrofit. This might not be one of the most common types of commercial measures installed, but the model does show that it is cost effective. It is just the applicability of it that we will see in the future if we do end up receiving this amount of savings from such a measure. But attic insulation is really just a great measure for the program. And so our industrial forecast summary is our last section. Our industrial program is our smallest section of our overall therm savings for our program. This is the core industrial sector, so this is not commercial. Once again, in 2026, the achievable economic potential is estimated to be 99,000. By 2035, it should reach 990,000 therms. So if we move to the next slide, this shows our top 10 measures for our industrial program. And so heat recovery systems have been the largest measure for Cascade's active program, and it's expected to continue in the future. Strategic energy management and building retro commissioning follow in second and third place because these provide lower cost behavior-based savings for these larger customers. And before I hand this off, I just want to give a reminder that the reason why these projections are important is we utilize the conservation potential assessment and its modeling to plan. So that is the backbone for our biennial conservation plan. And so it really is just a great model, and we will be beginning work. We're currently contracting for our 2027 CPA. And so it's just great work for the team.
Thanks, Jody.
Thank
Any
you.
last any questions for Jody before we pass it over to Noemi? Okay, so we'll pass it over to Noemi for some information on the Oregon side.
Good morning, everyone. Noemi Ortiz, Energy Efficiency Programs Manager for Cascade. Just a brief update on Energy Trust and energy efficiency things that we're doing and have planned for the remainder of this year and then early 2027. So some of the new initiatives include the development and implementation of low-income energy efficiency program offerings. In Oregon, we have a little bit of a different setup with the low-income programs. In Washington, we do have our standard low-income weatherization incentive program. We also have one in Oregon. However, as far as the energy efficiency implementation for all other customers, including a portion of the low income, runs through Energy Trust. So they've started some new initiatives where they came into some funding to now serve low income customers and moderate income customers, which they haven't done in the past. So some of the conversations we're having there include developing some low-income offerings for our customers. We struggle the same in Washington. The same struggle that we had in Washington, we see it in Oregon as far as serving low-income customers. The community action agencies are at capacity. We do have a smaller service territory in Oregon, which also comes with a lower amount that we have as far as partnerships with community action agencies. We only have about 5 agencies there, and 2 of them currently complete projects for us. The others are at capacity. So some of the new initiatives with Energy Trust will help supplement some of that programming. It is very early in the conversations as far as what will be developed, since we want to make sure the program stays at a whole home comprehensive program and not a one-off for low-income customers and income-eligible customers. So that's something that's happening this year and well into next year. Another area of focus in Oregon is targeted energy efficiency load management opportunities. That is currently happening with ETO staff, IRP staff, and the engineering team. So that's also in plans for the remainder of this year, and seeing if it's even feasible to implement something. Another area is that we're focused on with Oregon and the Energy Trust is accessibility. So we've had some conversations for work that we've done with Washington on updating our own website and making it more accessible to customers, especially customers where English is not their first language. So those are also conversations happening with Energy. They're our partner implementing energy efficiency, is to update their website and make sure it's more accessible, both for translation purposes, but just for the program unit itself. Another area is we're also revamping incentive information. We're following suit with what Washington does to provide like a one-pager, maybe two-pager of all offerings available to customers. Something that our ESR team can work and distribute in the Oregon area. Traditionally, customers have been pointed to the website, but it's a little bit hard to kind of maneuver through it if you don't know what you're looking for. So a one-pager is developed so that we can continue with outreach with customers, and whenever the ESR team is out, kind of door to door doing any events, they can just share with customers on the incentive offerings for both the standard program, energy efficiency, and also any low income there might be in the area. Next, we have ongoing. So we have the IRP forecasting, which is an ongoing process year to year and kind of updating targets and stuff. The other portions that we do with Energy Trust also include just energy efficiency events and outreach. So we do a lot of partnering there. They do more of the in-person. We attend meetings, we develop the marketing and outreach material with them. So it is co-branded, and then we have our own energy efficiency promotion and campaigns that we work with on Energy Trust. And it's more of us putting out the information and what promotion is happening during. It usually goes out during the holidays, like one coming up is for 4th of July. So it's a thermostat promotion for our customers. So usually ETO handles the inquiries, but we do all the email campaigns and outreach for the customers just for notification and opportunities they could participate in. We also have the dual fuel pump pilot that we're working on with Energy Trust. That's separate to the pilot that we have going on in Bend, but it is fairly similar. They're in the stages of evaluation right now, so we should be seeing in the next few months some bill impacts. And that was a pilot that started a couple of years ago, and it was focused on customers, of course, that had natural gas and were installing a heat pump. So still trying to see the initial or preliminary reports on that. So we should be seeing bill impacts here soon. That is for Energy Trust. We also will be seeing bill impacts for our heat pump pilot that's running internally for Cascade. Those should also be coming out in the next month or so. The focus for the Energy Trust pilot was low-income customers. Low-income customers without air conditioning, whereas we focused on all types of customers, including low-income with existing air conditioning. Yes, Eric.
Could you describe the differences between that Energy Trust dual fuel measure and the Bend pilot?
Yeah, so for the Cascade portion of the pilot, we were focused on carbon reduction, so GHG reduction. We were also looking at non-pipe alternative measures and what the feasibility of that was, along with the customer overall savings and reduction, and then bill impact as well. whereas Energy Trust was focused one also on the customer cost bill impact, but they weren't specifically focused on the GHG reduction portion or non-pipe alternatives. It was more of a how affordable it was for the low-income customers and what change it would note between the installation of air conditioning and a heat pump along with the furnace. Whereas ours, we were already looking at customers that had existing air conditioning so that we didn't increase, they didn't see a huge increase in their electric bill if they already had air conditioning. So those are some of the high level differences.
Thank you.
And then a couple of things that I didn't add to this slide, but I learned in a later meeting with Energy Trust is we have a couple large projects planned with the corrections facility in Oregon. So those are part of 2026 and 2027 efforts for commercial and existing building savings. We are forecasted to be at 101% of savings for 2026, including those two projects. Our 2026 therm saving goal is 684,000 as of now, and that is the one we're projected to be at 101% at the end of the year. And that is all I have, Brian. I'll pause there for questions in case there's any follow-up. All right, hearing none, I'll pass it back to you, Brian.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so this is where we would open up for any feedback. We tried to hold these meetings to 40 to 45 minutes. That way we're open to questions, feedback, thoughts, suggestions, anything. So I'll leave it open for a little bit. If anyone has anything they would like to add. Yeah, I'm not seeing any questions come through, but I have a few more slides. So if you have any questions that pop up, please feel free to interrupt. So the remaining schedule, so there's a little bit of a change to the schedule. We had planned running an equity in the IRP meeting in 3 weeks on July, I think 22nd, but we've moved that to combine it with the resource integration targeted tag on September 23rd. The main reason for that is we want to really focus on equity in regards to how it impacts the integrated resource plan. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to integrate it with some of the resource decisions and things like that. This also allows us a little bit more time to finalize some ideas that we have in terms of equity. So what you'll see is a cancellation of the July 22nd meeting, but we aren't removing equity in the IRP. It's just going to be integrated with the resource integration targeted tag. So what we have is we have 3 more targeted tags. The next one will actually be on August 12th. We'll talk a little bit about CCA, CPP. And then September 2nd, we'll have a meeting on distribution system planning. And then September 23rd will be the resource integration and equity in the IRP. And then after those targeted tags, we're going to start focusing on the larger tag meetings, and that's when we'll be looking to lock down some figures. So like that first tag meeting, we'll really focus on locking down the demand forecast, and I think the avoided costs as well, and things like that. That way we can start moving forward with finalizing the energy efficiency inputs and inputs for distribution system planning and things like that. So we'll hold 2 tag meetings at the end of this year, October 14th, November 18th. We'll send out a first draft December 16th, and we'll give it about a month for comments, and then we'll hold our third tag meeting. At that point, we'll hopefully have integrated results, some preliminary results, and a 2 to 4 year action plan. And then we'll file a final draft on March 12th, again, giving about a month for comments. And then we'll hold a tag 4 if needed. If there's anything that if someone's like, hey, I'd like you to present more on this or discuss this topic a little bit further, we can hold a tag meeting. And again, if anyone just wants to meet one-on-one and has questions, wants to learn more about a topic, please feel free to reach out. We're happy to meet at any point and discuss those. And then we'll file the final on May 21st. So again, if you have any questions that pop up later, feel free to email us at irp@cngc.com. You can email me directly too, brian.robertson@cngc.com. And so I'm going to open it up for any final thoughts, questions. Not seeing any hands, not seeing anything in the chat. Okay, so we'll hold our 5th tag meeting. It will be on CCA CPP compliance, and it'll be held on Wednesday, August 12th. So if there's nothing else, I appreciate everyone joining today. Appreciate the questions we got and the conversations we had. And then a big thanks to Jody and Noemi for presenting, and Caleb for jumping on and answering questions. So appreciate that. All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
I know.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.